Welcome to episode 159 of Consignment Chats. And y'all, today we're going to talk about something that gets mentioned often in our communities and even just amongst us in talking, and that is those lower priced items that we pull into our business. Some people might think they're pesky lower priced items. Some people might have a real plan and reason for having those lower priced items. We're going to break it down.
Well, let's start with the limbo. How low can you go? All right. So what's the lowest priced item you'll sell? Let's just get right into it.
I try to say $9, but there have been times I might have gone a little lower.
That is my general rule too, is $9 is my low, but
Okay.
I have $5 items listed in my stores.
With free shipping or with
No, I don't do free shipping.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I make a little there.
Yeah. I'll do $9 free shipping. But then I'll even take best offers on some of those things because how many years ago? 3 years ago, I took a lot of about 2,000 political buttons, 60s buttons, campaign, whatever, just
Nudity
thousands,
buttons.
nude buttons. Yeah, everything you can think of.
Unsavory.
There were unsavory buttons in there.
Yes.
Yeah, and oh, you know what? The other big mistake I made, I'm going to call those buttons a mistake. 3 years later, I've been hanging on to them and saying they were worth it and keeping things going in the store, but the price point is just too low.
Shot glasses.
Just too low. Oh, shot glasses. Don't even get me started on the shot glasses. I wasn't even thinking of that. I've made so many mistakes.
Oh my gosh. Which,
We
by the
all
way,
have.
I put a term in to search something that I was looking for in our store, Libby, the other day, and whatever the term was, it'll come to me. All the shot glasses came into it. I'm like, how do these even fit the mold to that term? Why are they all popping?
Was it souvenir? Was the word souvenir? No?
No. It wasn't a word I thought would associate with it. I'll go on with what you were saying. It'll come to me.
Yeah, the shot glasses. You guys have heard me talk about those. I think out of the 100 or so I did, I've sold 6 months in 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it? I felt like you'd sold more.
Well, maybe it's a little bit more. But anyway, good. Not good.
No.
NG. My mom says NG when something's not good. NG.
That's an NG. Okay. So I really don't, as I've mentioned on several episodes, I'm really trying to push my price point up. And I find that no matter how much I tell myself I'm going to be strict to this new price point and this pushing it higher, it's hard. It's hard to say it consistently because when you have somebody that comes to you with a lot of stuff and the majority, and by lot, I mean lot, which could be a lot too. Yeah, so you get in there and yes, there's a lot of I'm thinking of the jewelry I've just been putting my head back into again. And I took a bunch of it and some of it is $7, $9 items, but some of it is $459 items. And so it was easier for me just to say to the consignor, yes, I will take your jewelry. And anything that is broken is going to get thrown into a pieces and parts bag that will sell by weight to crafters. And the others, I'll just price accordingly. And because of that, I've found, just yesterday came across a gem that I had no idea was there, which was a 14 karat gold tie clip that was in thrown in with a bunch of popsicle earrings and
that happens all the time with lots of jewelry. And I always say we provide that service. We'll sort it just like you said. Because I think if we just said, oh, just hand me this stuff that's over such and such amount, for a lot of people, that's overwhelming. Yeah, for a lot of people, they've missed 14 karat gold or gold pieces in these big bundles. How many times do we have people in the store bring in a bundle of just tangled up jewelry and say, all right, well, my jeweler went through it and picked out all the real gold and silver, and this is what's left.
Yeah.
There was always something they missed.
Always. Just a few pieces, right?
As we go back to all the time, is know your terms and just be ready for that because it's not that big of a risk if you are taking a lot of stuff. If your terms say that it's your discretion to sort through it and some things can get donated, and that way you're making sure that whatever that price point is or those items are, you're comfortable with putting them up. And if you're not, then they either, go back to the person or get donated or however that works in your terms in your business. I had someone ask this morning about a bulk buy. They're like, these people have 30 garbage bags full of things. How much would you pay per pound? And people were throwing out, numbers, 25 cents a pound, 30 cents a pound, all that. And she goes, oh, that's so low. I don't think they're going to go for that. And I said, well, then be consignor ready. And if you say, okay, well, then the alternative is either I take all of this stuff from you and you never worry about it again and it's 25 cents a pound, or we split it 60-40. I take it all, but I go through it and decide what gets, trashed or donated or whatever it is, and just have your terms ready. And then you can negotiate with that. And they have options and they both work for you.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say, just the other day, I rung something through the system and I was like kicking myself. And I'm like, all of this work, I had an item, it was something that I ended up sourcing. And sometimes when I'm sourcing, back in the old days, I'm being much stricter with myself now. I'm doing much better. Samantha's on my shoulder when I go now, so I'm keeping it real.
And you learned so much like over the course of years about pricing. And I mean, just look at how I do on the Reseller Showdown. Like, 12 years of pricing stuff. I'm pretty good.
Oh my God, you're a calculator. Shout out Tide, flip that.
I rung something up the other day that somebody sent me questions and I had to answer the question, and that question was followed by another question. And in the end, it was a little maddening when I rung it up and my earnings were $2. Like, why did I even go through that? Why? I just wasted so much time. Am I hoping? Yes, I'm hoping that I built a good customer service rapport and this person will come back because I answered all of their questions. But at the same time, it was a lot of time spent for a $2 and a few pennies earning, right?
Sometimes we just want to buy all the salt and pepper shakers. That was my biggest thing a few years ago, is if I saw salt and pepper shakers, I bought them. I just loved, they're all so stinking cute. But at the same time, I don't collect anything. So if they sit on a shelf until they sell, great. Except it got to the point where I had several shelves of salt and pepper shakers, and they don't sell very well. And when they do, it's the same thing. You make a couple bucks. And if that's the price that you want to, if that's what you want for being able to look at them for a little while, then sure, you're not out anything for some home decor. But as a business plan, you can't just buy the things that are cute.
And you can't sell shot glasses.
No.
Stay away from shot glasses.
No, all right. So, and I know better, right? Like, I have my terms. I know what my terms are. A good consignor slipped this in and I was too lazy to go back to them, or I just didn't want to deal with it. So instead of going back to them, what I should have done is, since it's in I should have just said, hey, you know what? I'm not able to take these, and just given them like a little courtesy thing, which I don't have to do, but I would have, they're good consignors. I would have done that, but I should have done that. I didn't do that. I screwed up and it's infuriating. And it was in my terms. So it happens. It happens sometimes. So don't, come in the community and tell us all about it, and I'll feel your pain. What's your shot glass? Like,
I'll be there for you. What's your shot glass? I like that. What's your shot glass? So now, I will say,
go ahead.
The Disney pins are something that could be a lower, and I do end up selling some of those for $9. But I had two big lots of them, and they were, all of them I have $19 or higher listed. And I do sell several of them. Nobody asks for an offer. They just out and out buy them. So I do think there's that fine line in those smaller items that come in mass quantity. It's just doing your due diligence, doing your research, knowing, go ahead. People can't see you, Samantha, so you got to use your work.
So Lincoln Logs, that's one of those things that sometimes the lower price items, they can work for you. I bought a small tote, not a bucket, a small tote of Lincoln Logs.
Wait, does anybody else in the country call them buckets? Like the Rubbermaid totes that we all use to store stuff. Molly calls them buckets, and it drives Samantha crazy. You can't be the only person in the country that calls them buckets.
My husband calls them buckets, but maybe that's because he works with me every day and helps me every day. So because I refer to them as buckets,
You've corrupted them.
We interrupt this program to share video of corrupted husband purchasing large cart of lidded buckets for Molly's consignment business. Thanks, Nick.
Essentially.
I corrupted him.
Yeah.
Samantha will
in
send
many
me an
ways.
image off and on when I say something on text about da-da-da-da, my bucket, da-da-da, and she'll send me an image of like a pail, and she'll say, this is a bucket. Like,
Yeah, didn't you watch Sesame Street? There's a hole in the bucket. Dear Liza. Well, that was way before Sesame Street even, but they
that
did a
was way
version
before
of it.
Sesame
Yeah,
Street.
but they did that.
Little known fact, I grew up, I live near Canada, and their TV signals are stronger than American ones. So most of the TV we watched was Canadian, and in Canada it's called Sesame Park, and that's what I grew up in.
Oh,
You
really?
can't play
Did
in
they have the
street.
same like little Muppets? Was Grover
Same,
on there?
a lot of the same Muppets, and then some other ones, and that you shouldn't play in streets, but you can play in a park.
That's
Sesame
probably
Park.
pretty
Oh.
smart. But yeah. What did they have
Well, see,
Oscar?
but my kid grew up in Conshohocken, and you played in the street in Conshohocken.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Played
true.
in the
I mean,
alley, you played in the street. It was Sesame Street where my kid grew up.
That
where
is
I grew up,
true.
it wasn't, but where he grew up, it was.
yeah, I grew up in the country. We played in the street too. So I guess that's not accurate, but so anyways, back to my Lincoln Logs.
Wait, did
I
they
bought
have
this-
Oscar? I want to know about Oscar.
I don't
love
remember because
Oscar the
I did
Grouch.
watch both, so it's all very mingled to me. I remember
It's all
I know
very-
all the classics, but I just remember them being in a park.
Okay,
I'm
all
going to have to Google this Sesame Park
Yeah,
thing
definitely.
because I gotta know. Keep going. I'm gonna Google it.
So these Lincoln Logs, I paid $7 for a small bin tote bucket of them, and I have been listing. I was just going to list them as a lot because I've sold lots of Sesame Logs. I've sold lots of Lincoln Logs before for, $50, $60, $70, depending on the pieces that are in them. And someone talked me into breaking them up because I love to break things up like board games and things like that. I sell the pieces instead of the actual game. So I listed them about 2 weeks ago and I've sold almost all of them, but I'm selling them for like $1 a log. So I'll have a lot of like 8 logs and they're listed for $9. And I do take offers if somebody offers me $7 or $8 for them. But I am selling all kinds. It's funny when my phone will bling with like an offer, and Bill usually looks over my shoulder. Or I'll say something to him like, hey, do you think this is a good deal? Like if I accept this offer, and I tell him about the item. Well, now when he hears that, he goes, if those are Lincoln Logs, just accept the offer. It's all profit. Just do it. Just do it. So that has been lucrative, even though they're only $7 or $9.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you have multi-quantity listings on those?
Yes.
Yes, you can do volume discounts on eBay. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I've had repeat buyers already. They bought one and then they got them and liked them and they turned around and bought the other 2 of the same one. So yeah.
I mean, I think I definitely like to do lower dollar value items when they're multi-quantities. I mean, that's a no-brainer. One listing.
Yeah, I haven't listed this bag yet, but these are all the little single ones for those that can't see them. And I mean, it looks like there's 100 or more in here. And I'll just put them as, 10 or 15 of them, one listing for $9. And then I can say that I have, 10
so
of
are
those.
there like part
So
numbers on Lincoln Logs? Or are they just by size? Like how do you
They just go by size. They're the length and how many notches they have. So these are single notch logs. These are double notch logs. Some of them will have, like I had longer ones and they were different. They were the same length, but they were different because some had 2 notches on the end and some only had 1. And that apparently makes a big difference. If you have double notched ones, list them for literally like $9 per log. You could sell those.
That is so neat. I love learning about all these little niches, like of different stuff. I think it's fascinating.
So here's a question to put out there. Comments, put your answers in the comments. If you already listed a big bucket of Lincoln Logs that have been sitting there for now a year with a lot of watchers, but nobody buying, would you now at this point, knowing what Samantha just said, take the time to now sit down and break down that listing into parts and pieces and relist it, or just leave it as is and continue on with your day?
We want to know because we are so broken up about this. I don't want her to do it because she already put the work into that listing. It's done, set it and forget it. But at the same time, is money. So,
money, and I can get them out the door, man.
but
Yeah, so I'm going down this Muppet. Sorry, we're going back to Sesame Park, and I'm going down this rabbit hole, and I'm totally in here on Sesame Park. None of the characters are the same.
okay.
Oh, I'm
They
out.
are
I'm out. I don't
different.
want to know anything about it.
No, there's Basil the bear. I love a Basil the bear. Basil's like my favorite
What's
herb.
Canadian? That
Oh,
has to be
see, I
there.
thought he was on the regular one because my memories are all
Oh,
mixed together of
isn't
them.
that funny? Basil Bear.
I think they called him
He's
Basil. I think it's Basil the bear.
oh, is it Basil? Is
I
that the
believe.
Canadian
I mean, they're Canadian, eh? So that's how it works.
name? Basil. Well, he clearly must have been the big bird of the group, like one of the main characters, because
He was so
that's what I'm
cute.
seeing here. But yeah, how new, Samantha? You teach me something new every day. I swear. I had no idea this existed, and they have their whole own cast of people,
Yeah.
Muppets.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna have to go down the YouTube rabbit hole and watch a few. And
I
just
wonder
see
if
what
they
it's
ever
all.
made their own Muppet movies. Canadian Muppets in Toronto or something.
Wonder
Muppets
if
in
they
Montreal.
I wonder if they ever came together for a get together
I feel like they did,
across the
but
borders.
all right. We digress big
So
time
much.
here, but yeah.
All right, so I was loving this. Is reminding me, I was listening to Pure Hustle podcast, I don't know, a couple weeks ago,
The boys.
and Mike was talking about Little House on the Prairie and how inspirational he found it. And I just that episode, it just slayed me. And I was listening on podcast, so I couldn't comment. I must have been in the car or something. But he went down this whole rabbit hole of Little House on the Prairie and how it was like to live then, and working and building stuff with your hands and the responsibilities they had on their shoulder, and how he wasn't going to complain anymore about going out to a shed to package something. It was awesome. I loved every second of him talking about that. I just adored it. Anyway,
So
and
did
we
y'all
have we have the Muppets, and they have Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie?
Yep.
I used to watch it religiously. Never read the books though, as much as my grandmother wanted me to. I never read the books. I only watched the show. And I'm usually one that likes to read and then watch. But back then, I guess I just watched.
So I've saw a couple reruns of the shows, but I read those books many, many times. And man, when I had a little girl, I was so excited. I bought her the book set. I had a couple of my tattered ones, but I got her a new set, and she was gonna love them just as much as I did. And I don't think she ever read any of them other than the few chapters I read her.
I like
No
Nancy,
interest.
Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. Those were the ones I read.
Yes.
Those were fun.
My first, the first book that I remember someone giving me was this sweet lady that lived across the street from us. I would go over and have tea with her, and I was like 7 years old. And it reminds me of your little neighbor girls, Molly. But I would go over and I would have tea with her, and she gave me one of her Nancy Drew books, like one of the originals, and I still have it, and I absolutely love it.
I love that.
Mm.
Aww.
Sweet little Wanda.
So, okay, we're talking about low priced items. There's another thing, just talking about books. I had a bunch of books. Organization is my word of 2024, y'all, just so you know. And so I have been going through piles of stuff, and I cannot wait to report on this when it's all said and done, because it has been such a fun weightlifting project I've been just living in for the last several weekends. And this weekend, we're going to knock more out. But I had a bunch of books that I had set aside that whenever I went through them and decided not to keep them anymore, I was going to list them. And then I started scanning them recently, and I just put them on the donate pile because I didn't feel like they were really worthy of it. What about listing books? That to me, do y'all stick to only a certain price on books, or are they easy to list and you just throw them up there?
I cheat.
I
consider it cheating because not everybody has this option unless you go and create it or have one near you. But I have my 24-hour auction group on Facebook. And so when you're right, most books sell between like $3 and $5 with free shipping on online platforms. Like how they're losing money on their orders. I can't sustain that.
Right.
And especially when they're consignment. But a lot of them, I just got a stack of probably about 10 good books that all came out in the last year. and they are good books, but I'm not going to list them online. I'm going to list them in my auction group. Then I can start them at $5 a piece or $7 a piece in the auction group. And I have lots of local people that love to scoop them up.
And then you're not worried
Yeah, and
about
I mean, I think we want to
shipping.
link up that video, right? Of
Yeah.
Samantha and her auction group and things to do with the lower price, like how she processes them, because it's so smart.
Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise their books are frustrating like that. Like I love older books and the ones that do have the value but I mean they gotta be like 100 years old and really have a cool subject matter in order to really make it worth it. Because even those ones sit for a long time.
I just hear a lot of people that I meet that the basis of their business is books.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are they running a business on books? Because most of the things that I scan don't have a resale value that I feel you could sustain a business. So be really curious to maybe one day we'll have somebody
So what I do with the books is, well, I don't do it. Polly does it, is we have a relationship with our local library, but she'll bring a scanner in. They have a scanner and she'll scan the books and look up the value of each one. And if it's over the $9 mark, that the books and the DVDs will consign them. And if it's not, then we don't. And I mean, it's on the thousands of books that are there and donated. I mean, we maybe get 10 per thousand or something. Like it's really low amount that's even over $9. I mean, occasionally we get that real good winner, but they're so few and far between.
So it's not worth sticking Nick on that beat. I keep thinking I need to give Nick a focus when we're sourcing, and I was like, he could just go through and scan books when we're at like a Goodwill but that doesn't seem like a worthy thing to sick him on. I think I got to find something else for his.
I mean, unless there's somebody out there that can really just guide us in the right direction. I mean, I sold books on Amazon. I went down the Amazon route. I did all of that.
I was gonna say, unless you're in Amazon, or now Walmart allows sellers as well. Unless you're like that and you like really do a high volume of them, maybe, but I just love selling everything so much that I can't even fathom that business model.
Right. So mistake or not, this is our second round. Polly picked up at the library another huge donation of comic books.
Ooh, that's really huge right now, though. It's still banging out with the comics.
I mean, last time she picked up a big lot of comic books, it must have been about 2 years ago. I think they all sold, but it was an enormous amount of work to go through. Like none of them were high value. So, she had to go through and sort them and lot them up. And neither one of us know anything about comic books. So it was a whole lot of figuring stuff out and looking up and understanding. And so I'm hoping this isn't a mistake. So we have, Molly, you'll see them coming to our store soon. A couple hundred comic books.
Yeah.
I learned that there's a difference. If it has a barcode and price tag on it, it's a newsstand edition. And if it doesn't, it's a publisher edition. And they got it right straight from the publisher. And apparently that can make a difference on price. I have never sold a comic other than like an Archie one as like a craft thing. Like I will throw them up on Etsy once in a while because I usually get a ripped or something. And then I just throw them up there as like craft paper. But
that's a good idea. That's a good way to do
I mean, comic book collectors can be difficult, like, because even these ones that were not worth a whole lot that we lotted up, like there were some like complaints about how I packaged them. Now I packaged them well, but they have very specific, apparently, expectations about how they should be singly wrapped. Like if I'm selling a lot of, 30 comic books for $30, I'm not individually wrapping them. I'm sorry.
It is different than like our I've sold lots of Time magazines and National Geographics and stuff like that. And yeah, those people, I can put them all in one clear plastic bag and then I put them into a box and boom, there you go. But comic people want everyone individually done. It should all have a board with it. It should all,
they're a different breed.
They're particular. They know.
So maybe I should like up my price, like comics, like we'll sell them. Because I mean, literally just texted me this question last week. All right, what's the lowest we're going to sell a book or a lot for? So I can sort these into donate. And I said $9.
Yeah.
I maybe should have said 19.
When it's a needy item, I think you need to take in the neediness. Like if it's one of those items that are going to take time after the listing, It's worth it. I mean, I had somebody with a needy item that I didn't realize was a needy item recently who's asked me a bajillion. Nick loves it. I mean, Nick, Cal loves it when I use that word. He's like, Mom, no, that's not a word. And I'm like,
Yes,
but
it
it's
is.
bajillion. Bajillion. I got a bajillion questions on a pair of shoes that had many watchers on it. And they didn't come and ask them all at one time. They asked and then a week later asked more. So each time I'm having to go find these shoes, pull them out of their storage, and go through answering these questions. And I do this with my good customer service smile and face and typing all the happy words and here you are and this is that and da da da. And of course, what's the final question? What's the lowest you'll go on these? Well, after the hours I've now spent on these,
Yeah, the price just went up. Sorry.
like, you want a discount?
You want a discount? The price just went up, baby.
Right? I've had to pull it out 3 times, restock it 4 times, do all of the, yeah.
I did send her an offer with, I think it was like $10 off because they're a higher priced shoe, but they do have a lot of watchers, and I'm not going lower than that. And I did just do that and thought I'll just be the kind one here. But there are those times, y'all, that we keep it between ourselves, but you do want to answer, really? Like, you just had me go through this 2 different times, going through all this work, pulling these sandals out for what? Like,
I know some sellers, they would then up the price after they talk to them.
Right. Well, for the hours I've now spent charging you $16 an hour for my time. Like,
Yes.
let me send you an offer. Those $69 shoes are now $99 shoes. Thank you. Yeah.
So another lower price thing I like to do, but it has mixed reviews, even locally, are mystery bundles. So when I have things that expire and I'm ready to donate them or auction them, or I just have, like, especially some of my people that get pallets and stuff, and you go through and you do that sorting thing where you're like, okay, these can be listed individually, these can be lotted up, but then you get to the end and it's just the little things. Those are the things where I just make a box of it and I post it locally or on Facebook or whatever, and I just say, $3 starting bid, and you see the top of it. Sometimes I'll pull some of it out so they get an idea, but it's that bundle. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Right. I mean, do you then get the response like, oh, but I really just want that. Can you just give me that? Like,
and luckily I don't get that a lot because I do start them pretty low. Like a lot of times $1. I will start that at $1 and just let it go. It's also hard though, because I have to keep that within the same consignor. Because if I start mixing consignors, then I have to keep track of, like, okay, this box was like 30% that person and 70% that person, or
that's a bookkeeping nightmare right there. Yeah.
Right. So I have to have enough per consignor or expired items, then it's not such a big deal. But yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Or I just start grabbing my husband's things and go, oh, well, that can just get mixed in there. We don't have to keep track of that. That's fine. let's just declutter. That's the cost of decluttering.
He won't miss this. He won't miss this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right. So have you ever sold anything at a loss?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes over time. Yeah.
I usually do it like twice a year. I accidentally discount something too much with free shipping and end up in the negative like $1.
And then Molly says, wow, you're just giving them things away, hey?
I really am.
Girl, what are you doing selling those new tag, Carhartt shorts for $14?
They were Columbia and they were 50% off because they were expired on consignment.
I said, damn, Gina. What are you
constantly defending myself over here? Constantly defending myself.
This is the problem when you allow somebody else at a different location to piggyback into your business. Then she starts chattering comments to you and going, did you really just price that for those? Because
literally just a front row seat into this. Look, I can see all of your things. Yes. Love it.
I can't get away with anything, guys. Nothing.
Nope. No.
I agree. Mine's normally a couple times a year, like once or twice a year, I will find myself going, oh crap. Sometimes it's because I really just want it gone. Like, sure, whatever. That's easier than listing in the auction group. Just take it and I break even on shipping, or I pay $1 to ship it. I don't care. Get it out of my basement. Let's go. So that happens once in a while. Another thing is when I'm trying out a new platform, I'm kind of dumb sometimes. So like when I first tried Mercari, I didn't understand their shipping. I didn't understand it all. I wasn't cross-listing very much. I was very new to a lot of things a couple years ago. And I sold a pair of pants. And when I went to ship it, it had somehow marked it as free shipping, which I did not do at the time on there.
Oh,
And
it's totally Mercari's fault.
it's
It wasn't
yes,
you, Samantha.
we will definitely blame Mercari. Which it is a known issue on there. Now all my stuff is free shipping on that platform because it's much easier to keep track of. But at the time, I definitely paid those people to take that pair of pants. And yeah, that was a lesson learned. But as long as you're learning from those things and they don't happen very often,
this is true.
then, and sometimes it's a convenience. Last year I had gotten clearance Christmas trees. I've talked about them many times. I had bought 3. They were all elevated and on totes in my basement at one point. At one point, they came off the totes and they were stacked on the basement floor. We had
buckets. Are you talking about buckets?
Yeah, the bucket. Now I imagine 3 giant Christmas trees teetering on a little 5-gallon Home Depot bucket down there. So they had ended up on the floor. There was some moisture down there, and after a heavy rain, and the bottom tree, which was new in box, brand new, I paid $10 for them. The bottom tree, that box soaked up all that moisture, and it clearly had damage to the box, and who knows how it affected the tree. I don't think at all, but who knows. I took that as a loss. It was a cost of storage at that point. I just said, whatever, that's a $10 storage fee because it kept the other 2 dry, and I'm just going to leave them stacked like that until these other 2 sell. I sold the other 2, which worked out well. I actually listed the water damaged one in my auction group and sold it for $25. So technically I didn't come out as a loss at that, but when it happened, I counted it as a loss because I was just like, that's okay. It's convenient right now. It's fine.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to walk away from your inventory and do that, right? Like you just want to hang on to it and you just, yeah, I'm guilty. Very guilty.
With my new process I'm delving into, I am digging deep into my inner Libby with a lot of things. And just when I touch it and I realize like offers come in, I look at Nick and I'm like, that's a lowball offer. And he's like, yeah, but we've had it, get it out. I'm like, you're right. And then I take it and I'm like, just get it out. Just get it out. I'm really trying to be better at letting some of that stuff go and thinking about the cost and how long I've had it. And
so I've had 2 of my really big consigners come to me and say the same thing totally independently. And they said, and start a whole new process in the business where I will discount things at the end of the consignment period, the last week or 2, 50%. And they had both asked me to do this. Well, what they had come to me and said was, I don't mind how much you discount the items. I know you want to sell it. Like, don't feel bad. We'd rather it sells while it's on consignment. Do not feel bad if you're marking it way down. I'd rather it sell than it, sit there.
Yep.
So, with their idea or their blessing or their, whatever, I started doing that, and it was great last year. I think it brought a lot of new traffic, which is the next thing I kind of want to hit on is what those if you get a grouping of low dollar value items, like your Disney pins, Molly, which I don't really consider low value, like $19 isn't really a low value.
But a lot of them do sell for $9 in the end, but I listed them all at 19 and higher, even though I knew I would take offers and whatever. But I put that as I'm just going to put them all up at the same price and boom.
And make it easy, right? Make it easy to list, like your Lincoln Logs, like the multi-quantity.
Yes.
But I think there's definitely an argument to be made that even if you're making $2 on one item, there's something about that, like boosting the algorithm and keeping, things flowing in your store and, your sell-through rate, and there's activity. So there's definitely an argument to be said. Like, I see why people gravitate toward those lower dollar value items. I think it's just doing it in a smart way, like Molly's easy
Yes.
to list Disney pins. Like my collectible buttons were not a good choice because there weren't very many that were multiples, and they weren't easy to list, and they were hard to sort, and they're a pain. Like it was a really not a smart
More time.
choice. Like your Lincoln Logs, very smart choice. So we have smart, dumb, smart. Okay. Yes.
But here's the thing, what you're saying too, Libby, and you and I have had this conversation over the years because I've always had a hard time with lowball offers or low priced items, giving those up to people. When somebody lowball offers me, my big thing has always been the integrity of the store. Like if we give into lowball offers, what's that going to do to the integrity of our store? And we've talked about that till we're blue in the face. And I think what you're saying way outweighs any possibility that it might make people think we're a mom and pop junk shop, right? And we'll just give anything away. Because I have only had it happen in almost 12 years of selling, where I have given into somebody's sob story and a lowball offer on something, and a week later they come back and try to get something else. And all those years, that's only happened once, where somebody has done that, where, ooh, I got them and I got that real cheap. Now I'm going to come back and tell them that my, dog is in the hospital. And so I really need this jacket so I can walk to the vet through the snow, but I can only afford $10 on that North Face, parka. Like, you get those stories. I mean, people send that stuff to you and you're like, oh, really? And I did give into this one woman who was sweet as could be, and thinking, okay, I'm going to give in my heartstrings. And sure enough, a week later, she's like, now I really love this item, and my granddaughter would, and I'm like, oh Lord. Exactly why I hate to give in. But then truly, that's one story I can think of in 12 years where that person has come back thinking, ooh, I got good in this, right? The benefits way
And
outweigh.
I don't remember that ever happening, unless you count my one local lowball customer who I use that clears out things I don't want to store. So I guess that's not really the same situation, right?
It's not.
No.
I don't think so.
And I like, for the integrity of the store. Yeah, we've talked about that so many times, but like in my mind, when somebody comes to our store, are they looking to see what somebody else paid for an item or whether we took a best offer? You don't really look at that when you shop at all.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
It's what we have in our store.
Something that I've struggled with that is so not something I should struggle with. I need to let that go. Like
I love when we let stuff go.
Right? Like, why do I let that grate? And every time it comes in, it kind of gets me. And I'm like, I need to stop, because the benefit of all of this so outweighs the little bit that I think might make us, it doesn't happen that way. That's not at all how this works, Molly. That's not at all how this works.
It shouldn't be emotional. It shouldn't be emotional when you get a low ball offer. Like, you either accept it or you don't.
Right. And that's what I'm trying. I'm getting my inner Libby now, and I'm just like, oh, yep, I'll take it.
Who cares? I want the money, or I don't need the money right now. There you go.
And now that I'm on multiple platforms too, there are some platforms like Poshmark where I like never make a sale unless it's through an offer of some sort. So to counteract that, I just raised my prices. Right. When I list there, everything gets listed 20 to 40% more. And then I can send out offers, take in offers, whatever it needs to be. And I'm not lowballing myself so much, because I know that that's just the kind of platform. It's like a JCPenney method over there. JCPenney, I remember when they got rid of all their coupons and all their sales, and they just priced things super low.
Yeah, that went over right like a lead balloon.
Like a brick. People stopped shopping there, even though, okay, now their $19 shirts were $6. People were upset because they didn't feel the discount from the sales and the coupons and where am I, whatever. So I feel like Poshmark is like that, and you just gotta mark things up and then give them their deal. And I still make more money on there per item than I would on eBay.
Yeah.
The traffic and the sales just aren't there. Don't get all excited about that. eBay's still number one. I still love you, eBay. You're still number one.
We do. We love you.
You are our number one. We put you up here.
Yes.
All right, friends. Any other thoughts on this lowball priced items in our businesses that we think we should hit on?
I'm tired of people shaming people for selling low dollar value items. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm gonna say let's remove the stigma, let's remove the shame. If Joe down the street likes to sell his DVDs for $2 and he's making it work, maybe we have something to learn from him. Like, please don't get in the comments and shame anybody for what they're selling, especially me and my shot glasses. No, totally. You can shame that. Like, that deserves to be shamed. But
we do regularly. That's fine. Yeah. No, but I think that's a good point though, too. If it's working for you, if you are somebody that is complaining or has issues with, I'm not making enough money, I don't know what to do, and you're only listing $2 DVDs or you're only listing shot glasses that aren't selling, then there's a problem and you do need some help to try to pivot and figure out what is going to work for you. But if you can hustle those $3 books with free shipping and somehow you are making that work, you have the skills to figure that out, then more power to you. I am glad that is working for you.
Yeah, right.
I love.
Let us. Maybe we even need to spotlight your business and shine it on you.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, we should get some booksellers on here. That's good.
Or a shot glass seller. Like, is there anyone out there that successfully sells shot glasses? I think the Don told me he did.
Every tourist shop in every town.
I don't know.
No, my dream
on that.
So our friend Jill one time, she said, Samantha, you sell everything and you say that you don't like selling any of it. Because I hate clothes. I hate them. But they're half of my store because
I was going to say, that's all I ever see in your background.
They're half of my store. Yes, but I hate them. She goes, what would you just be your dream thing if you could niche down and that is your only thing? Like, what would it be? And I love board games, not because I would sell them as board games, but because I take out the dice and I take out the Scrabble pieces and I sell the board to a crafter and I love piecing down those things. Then that turns into a bunch of $7, $9, $12 listings. But my dream world would be to just put it out into the universe that I take all used missing piece board games and I take them in and I show them love and I sell them to all the other people. That is my dream, but it would have to be very high volume in order to do that, and that's not my dream. So yeah, it remains a fantasy world. But
side focus.
What?
Let it be your side focus. Let it be something that you do.
Oh, for sure.
You do. Yeah.
When
I'm just gonna say, maybe you should read the pumpkin plan, and I think you'll figure it out by the time you finish the book.
Yeah. So there you go. Speaking of book, Libby, because I know this part of it's been winding down. I know we're in the midst of this week, as this airs, is the beginning of our new book club for the quarter. And I think you should touch on that real quick today because it's an exciting time when a new book starts.
Yes. So Q1 is The Slight Edge, turning simple daily disciplines into massive success and happiness. I hope I got that tagline right. It is a great group of people that are just there to learn and read and laugh and share and grow. And we're just really excited to be doing this with the community, and it's going to be wonderful. I'd hate to see anybody miss out on it.
Put this out there. If you have never done a book club ever before and you're a little hesitant, this particular book is a great one to start on, because I don't care who you are and what part of the process of your life as a whole you're in, you are going to get some big things out of this book. And the way Libby breaks it down and does it is fun. It's not overwhelming. And we really try to keep and put together a very supportive group of book club members who are there to support and build up and walk through it with you and alongside you. So I highly recommend.
We did do this book in the Q1 of last year, and we are going to repeat it in Q1 of every year, because when we finished the book, it was so everybody that participated, even if they didn't participate in the whole thing, just found it so incredibly life-changing and powerful that we couldn't wait to do it again. And
we all saw the light, y'all. We all saw the light.
Well, you know what? I have to say, I'm going to get a little bit personal here for just 1 second, if I can. There was a very dark time for me this summer where I was really, really struggling in a way that I haven't struggled before. And all of a sudden, I remembered something that I read in the Slight Edge book, and it was about looking up, like the physical act of looking up when, you're thinking about the past and you just can't get out of your own head. And literally I chose that as my word a couple of days in a row, and it changed everything around. Like that one little nugget was, it literally saved my world. And that was just one little thing,
I love it.
thing
I
in the
love
book.
it.
Out of that amazing book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's never too late to get the book and join the book club. Even if we're halfway through it, that's okay. Get started, get in there, and just join the discussion and talk about it. And it's Libby literally edges the slight edge. Like she will just break it down into little chunks. It's not like you're gonna have homework.
I like that.
Reading half the book in 1 week or anything. It's little chunks, and then we just discuss it a little bit. They're short meetings. If you can't make the meeting, they're recorded in our private book club group, so you can go back and comment on those and participate that way. So yeah, it's a good time.
Libby slight edge is the slight edge. I like that. I like that.
It's also at 8:30 at night, so I mean, like, if you want to bring a glass of wine, that's okay too.
Oh yeah,
Have at it.
absolutely.
We're all for happy hour book club.
Yeah.
You do you, and we'll support it. Yeah. This is
Night-
a lot of pressure.
night-
This is a lot of pressure now. Like I like to kind of keep it low key.
Well, it's your thing
I
though.
know
You do
you've
it
got
so
some-
well.
I know, and you've got some newbies coming in, so it'll be interesting to see how many faces pop on.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, at this point, when this airs next week, we'll have already known how many faces popped on. That's the fun about pre-recording them a couple of days ahead is that, you know.
But you
True.
can still join next week, so order the book and get over there.
100%. 100%. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention before we do our cheers and sign off and get back to our slight edging, pumpkin planning lives that we live is we do have an event that I've mentioned in the past that we are working on that is a collab with 2 other businesses, and it is going to be an location event with information for you that if you want to make yourself be in the location, it is going to be in August. I will give you more deets, but just keep listening and tuning in as the details come.
Can you
if you're in
share
the area-
where?
A
Like
fun
what
little meetup.
state it'll be in? Can you share that?
So it's going to be in the Tennessee, it's going to be in the state of Tennessee, and I believe at this point it's going to be in the Gatlinburg area, and it is going to, it looks like, be at the end of August. And it will be us and our friend Angie Resells and our friend Kristen the Rural Squirrel and our I'd Flip That buddies, Joe and Nicole. And we are going to do a meetup in Gatlinburg, and I will get some information for you guys so you can figure out a place if you want to come where you can stay and be near us. And we will host some planned activities if you're in the area that you can come join us and have some fun. So Reseller retreat, my friends, reseller retreat. I mean, I'm so excited. I can't stand myself. So I might be talking about this till we're blue in the face. There might not be
I
enough
think you will, yeah.
by that we're not talking about this because
And the people that don't come will feel like they're already there. Yeah.
Right. But I will put together some more details and information and some hotels that if you want to be in the area during that time to meet up with us and join in, we will put that out there for you so you can come be with us and join in some of the planned activities we're going to do.
We're going to get to do lunch with Let's Do Lunch.
We're going to get to do lunch with Let's Do Lunch. I mean,
I'm so excited.
No,
and I'm sure even if you can't come to Tennessee around that time or join us there, I'm sure between all of us, there will be some live streams. There will be something happening. We will be recording. You will see it. Definitely.
Yeah. You don't put a bunch of YouTubers together in a cabin and, not have content made.
Yeah. Shenanigans will happen, and I'm 99.999% sure there might be some game show gaming going on with our game show hosts, Joe and Nicole. So
God, I love games.
I am the champion.
Maybe they'll throw like a role-playing one in there for me.
So
God. Oh, they did say skits. There were skits. There was I forgot about that.
Yeah, they like skits.
Yes. Libby's face lit up and I went, oh Lord, Samantha.
I might have to defect over to I'd Flip That.
I don't know.
For the week. I don't know.
For the week or for are you
Just for the
leaving
week.
us?
Just for the week. Maybe I'll just
Samantha.
join the other team. I don't know.
How do we feel about this, Samantha?
Secretly, probably very excited. They don't have
I'm
to
gonna
role
have
play
to
with
sit
me.
on that for a bit.
I don't even know how to respond to this. We're gonna have to start interviewing thirds. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
Oh Lord. Oh
Oh,
Lord.
God. All right, guys.
All right, y'all. Until next time, my friends.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we build a resourceful community of collaborative resellers. Find all the ways to connect with us on consignmentchats.com. Episodes are available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. In addition, join our free private Facebook community.